Hey, what's up guys, Mashin here, come back with a brand new video for you guys as the Antwerp Major has just come to an end and FaZe Clan has been crowned the winner in a tournament that we've seen far too often considering we haven't seen a map 3 since Boston 2018. There's definitely a lot to talk about relating to Antwerp, but today we're going to be focusing in on the CSGO investing aspect of that and obviously talking about the Antwerp sale potentially and making sure you know everything going into that so you can make the most educated purchases possible. First up here, we're going to be talking about buying into the actual capsules themselves. Now there's three main ways you can go about it. First up, buying them from the in-game shop. This is going to help you generate Steam points if that's something you care about, and you're going to have to pay tax based on your applicable area. The second is buying off the Steam community market. This might be the better option depending on what the capsules price points are sitting at, and the third option is going to be using a third-party website. If you're planning to use cash, hands down, you're going to have to go with number 3 or else you're just going to be cutting yourself short. There's no reason to buy into a certain item just to sell it off on Steam to buy capsules in CSGO if you've got real money and you can just skip straight to that third step and just buy off a third-party website. Now the difference between the first one and the second one, talking about whether you should buy it on the community market or buy it from the in-game shop, is based on one thing. That's going to be price. Obviously, you should be going with the cheaper one here. Now, there's a lot of things, especially if you go on the CSGO market forum, of people really hating on buying it off the Steam community market. There's a couple reasons for that. First up, we've got some currency exchange differences. Now, there's nothing absolutely glaring like there was with the previous major, but we've got some smaller things like the euro going from, I believe, 0.89 per capsule to 0.95 per capsule, and some other pretty small things like that. Depending on what currency you use, you might be able to get them for maybe 23.5 cents or something very similar. There's nothing, at least at this point, that has come out that's more than a 10% difference in currency, which is when we really start to get concerned, because that's when we'll see people mass buying them just for the purpose of reselling it to make a small profit there. About a 5% difference, it's definitely there, but it's probably not going to be very exploitable. The second thing is, when specifically should you be buying? Now there's a couple of main times that you might potentially want to buy. First up is going to be the second that the capsules go on discount. This is the biggest profit maker for the entire major right here. If you're looking to make some profit off the major, this is where it's going to happen. If you're there at the beginning of the hour, whenever that update drops, you're going to be making a decent amount of money. And here's why. There's tons of buy orders that are currently sitting at above a 25-cent capsule price point. So if you're unboxing these capsules at a 25-cent price point, your expected return is going to be over 100% for a short time period. Now, this is not set in stone, and it's definitely subject to change, but this is probably where you're going to be making a decent amount of money, and it's probably worth it to buy capsules during this time. Obviously, make sure you're checking out the Steam community market and seeing how everything's going, but I can almost guarantee that there will be a period of time that you can make some money with this. Other than that, your best time is going to be sometime throughout the sale. The sale length is obviously subject to change. We don't really know how long it's going to be, and I'll speak about that in just a second. But I mean, it's not going to be too big of a deal whether you're buying on the 3rd day or whether you're buying it on the 20th day. As long as you're buying it for the cheapest possible price you can get it for, it's probably not going to make too big of a difference. The only reason I would say potentially hold off is if we do see another currency conversion issue down the line, maybe 2 weeks in, you might be able to snag some capsules off the Steam community market for like 22 cents a piece rather than the 25, but at this point nothing major like that has occurred, so you're probably pretty safe to buy in whenever you feel like it. Speaking of sale length, it's definitely something that's called a lot of controversy upon itself. There's definitely a lot of people who believe it should be shorter, and there's definitely a lot of reason that Valve extends it on. The main thing I want to say is after 2 weeks, it's really not going to be playing a super major impact on how long the actual sale is versus how good of an investment Antwerp actually is. As long as during that time the stickers aren't receiving some major changes, or we're not seeing a sticker price go up significantly, which wouldn't make sense anyways, we can see with the past majors at least that the amount of capsules bought definitely starts to fall off rather significantly after that 2-week mark, so there's nothing set in stone once again, but it definitely seems like it's not going to be playing as big of a deal as if the major was only 4 days versus 10 days. Here, if it's 3 weeks versus 5 weeks, yes, that is a 2-week difference, but it seems like in the amount of capsules bought, it's not a super big deal. The last big thing I want to mention is it's not going to be easy profit, and while that seems like another pretty blanket statement and a pretty obvious statement, there's definitely a lot of things that considerably impact this investment. In my opinion, we're going to be seeing so many more people than Stockholm just because we saw so many people releasing videos talking about how Stockholm was such a great investment. Therefore, we're going to see a lot of new people coming into Antwerp believing they are going to make some easy profit as well. A lot of things from Stockholm have been overlooked. Quantity is always a major factor in what is going to be a good investment or not. Whether it's the biggest factor is up for debate, but at least in this case, it's definitely not going to be a bad idea to look into Stockholm and see some of the Stockholm capsules to see if it might potentially be a better idea to go with those. We know the amount of legend supply there is not going to increase, whereas here it's definitely up for debate. Now, I don't think that it's going to be necessarily a better or worse investment at this time. Obviously, that's not a judgment we can make currently, but I think there definitely is an argument to be made over Stockholm versus Antwerp. I think there definitely is a lot of potential that Stockholm has that we just don't know with Antwerp, and most likely Antwerp's not going to have that same level just because of all these new investors coming in. The one big thing is, especially now that the Stockholm bubble has really burst and we've seen these capsules come down to a reasonable price point, I think there definitely is a major consideration that should be made on whether Stockholm's going to be a better investment. Before, when the prices were about double what they were sitting at now, I think there was no reason to invest in, and obviously there was no reason because we've seen those prices decrease significantly, but at least in the current situation, there definitely is a decent amount of arguments to be made about investing in Stockholm, and I think you should definitely check that out. But as always, guys, I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.